The Bank of Industry has received regulatory approval from the Central Bank of Nigeria to operate a non-interest banking window, marking a major push toward ethical and inclusive financing. The approval allows BOI to provide asset-backed non-interest financing to underserved and high-impact sectors, including MSMEs. BOI said the initiative will mobilize ethical funding, support the real economy, and align financing with social and developmental goals. To unpack this, I'm joined by Managing Director, I'm joined by Oluwayemisi Sunmola, Banking Research Analyst, Vetiva Capital. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me today.
All right, non-interest finance. Great. Non-interest finance has been part of Nigeria's financial system since 2011 with licensed Islamic banks, Takaful, you might want to call that Islamic insurance or cooperative. And you also have Sukuk, which is Islamic bonds. Have they gained the needed, widespread acceptance and adoption?
Non-interest finance, people would say that, yeah, they've gained traction on one hand, but we wouldn't call it mainstream yet because adoption has been rather steady than explosive, right? So we see that the Islamic banks are still a small share of the financial system, but then capital instruments such as the sovereign sukuk bonds have seen a larger uptake, especially because people can clearly see the link between these infrastructure projects and the bonds that they are giving. So acceptance is still growing, but then we still consider it as more of a niche structure than mass adoption.
Right, now let's go to the just approved non-interest banking window for BOI. What does this mean for businesses and Nigeria's financial markets in general?
So what this means, it's a very good one, especially for businesses. So this would mean more access to the typical Bank of Industry style development finance without the conventional interest. So especially for the likes of asset purchases, equipment, as well as working capital, which are tied to real economic activity. So what this basically signals is some sort of ethical financing being more institutionalized. So would not see them in just private Islamic bank, but major in development finance institutions.
Right. So for the uninitiated, or for lack of a better word, what does non-interest banking really mean and who can benefit from it? I think we should start from there.
Okay. So basically what non-interest banking means is financing that basically avoids charging interest on the time value of money. So instead, we see it's based on things like trade or partnerships where you are not charged, like I said before, on the time value of money, but rather on things like the amount of profit gotten from this. So rather than lending cash and charging interest, the bank would finance equipment, and it is most especially useful for MSMEs, as well as a lot of faith-sensitive businesses and entrepreneurs that would prepare ethical investment instruments than the general bank loans.
Right. Does that, mean that the banks will probably not do the normal due diligence they would do if they want to give out loans to customers? Or does it also include the due diligence, only that the process or the method of repayment is different?
Yes, just like you said, it's still the impact of due diligence is still necessary, whereby you need to even check the cash flows of these companies. Would they be able to actually, and would these developments actually be linked to actual development? So major change will basically, like you said, just be on how the interest is charged, not on the process of granting a lot of these instruments.
Right. So let's close on this. Talk to us about the major obstacles that sort of affect the deepening or the adoption of, non-interest banking in Nigeria.
So what we would say is low awareness as well as some significant infrastructure gaps would be what would majorly, like I said, affect this. But in terms of impact, we see it that gradually it will happen. With regulation is actually more of the strongest area. So we've seen the CBN have a lot of clear frameworks as well as strong Sharia governance rules for years. So we would say that awareness of some sort is improving and is helped by Sukuk insurance and more visibility from licensed non-interest banks. So although we are seeing that infrastructure and product understanding we still need some catching up, but these moves like what the Bank of Industry new window would do would kind of help normalize a lot of these products and bring them closer to everyday businesses.
Right, thank you so much, Oluwayemisi Sunmola, banking research analyst, Vetiva Capital, for your thoughts on the show today.